Hello, my name is Rushi from Balloon One. Today we will be looking at fixed assets within SAP Business One. This is the second of 4 videos, and today we'll be looking at setting up fixed assets in SAP Business One. Just a reminder, for this series we will be looking at fixed assets as of SAP Business One version 9.0, where fixed assets are now inbuilt into the financial module, where previously they were an additional add-on. For this demonstration, I will be using SAP Business One version 9.1 patch 11 with the demo GB database. So we'll start with a short recap of the first video. We will then look at the additional setup menus which arise as a result of enabling the fixed asset solution, and finally we'll look at document numbering. It is advised to make decisions about legal and industry requirements with the client's accountant. To start using the fixed asset solution, we must first activate it. We then configure the account determination. We define asset master data records for each asset type. We attach relevant definitions to each asset master data. And finally, we define document numbering for fixed asset documents. It is important to note, when activating fixed assets, this is a non-reversible setting. Let us have a look in SAP Business One. First, we go to Administration, System Initialization, Company Details. On the Basic Initialization tab, we can see that the fixed assets solution has been enabled and is now grayed out. The additional menus appear in Setup, Financial, Fixed Assets, and these are the ones we should look at in this video. Further menus will appear in the Financial module in Financials, Fixed Assets, and these we'll look at in the next video. The first element we will explore is account determination. This allows the system to automatically determine the relevant general ledger accounts for asset transactions. You should configure account determination for each asset type. You can define multiple account determination sets, and this may be useful for different forms of reporting. The account determination can be found in Administration, Setup, Financials, Fixed Assets, and Account Determination. You can see the account determination is already set up with the general ledger accounts, and we can see in our example all assets have the same account determination. If I wanted to create a similar set, I could select Duplicate, assign a code and a brief description. As the system has the same account determination for other assets, I shall keep the same. And here is my account determination set. Next, we'll look at depreciation types. Depreciation types are used to define different depreciation calculation methods for your assets. The most common depreciation methods are straight line method and declining balance method. So if we go to Administration, Setup, Financials, Fixed Assets, we can select depreciation types. My database has some predefined. So we can see we have a code, a description, a method, and over here you can see the different depreciation types and a calculation base. Let's explore the two methods we mentioned earlier. Straight line depreciation is the simplest and most commonly used depreciation method. It assumes an asset loses an equal amount of value each year over its estimated useful life. To calculate straight line depreciation, we simply subtract the salvage value from the acquisition value and subtract this from the useful life. Alternatively, it can be a fixed percentage of the acquisition value. So for the straight line depreciation, if we look on the calculation tab, we have our different methods of calculating depreciation. Declining balance method entails higher depreciation charges at the beginning of the asset's useful life and gradually decreasing charges in subsequent periods. Each year, depreciation is calculated using the same constant percentage rate. In the first year, the system calculates depreciation based on the asset's acquisition cost. In the following year, the calculation is based on the asset's remaining net book value. As you can never reach a net book value of 0 using this method, the system can switch to straight line depreciation towards the end of its useful life. Next, we will talk about our depreciation areas. Depreciation areas allow you to show different values of fixed assets for specific purposes. For example, balances for tax purposes or management accounting values. SAP Business One follows the following types of depreciation areas. Posting to GL. These are where asset depreciation is posted to general ledger accounts. Additional area. Depreciation is carried out in an additional area to the main area and is for information purposes only. And the derived area, where depreciation is carried out as a derived area of the main depreciation area. For the additional area and the derived area, the system does not post to general ledger accounts. You could use the additional area to compare the efforts of using different depreciation areas. You can carry out additional depreciation calculations for different depreciation areas in parallel to the actual calculations. The parallel calculation is for information purposes only and no postings are carried out. Let us look in SAP Business One. If we go to Administration, Setup, Financials, Fixed Assets, and Depreciation Areas. Here, my database has some predefined depreciation areas. It's important to note you can only have one main depreciation area. Our first one is GAAP, and we have set the type posting to our general ledger accounts. At the bottom, we have a set of additional menus. The first, derived depreciation area. This is only available when depreciation area has a posting to the general ledger accounts, and the type depreciation area is the main depreciation area. Next, we have our posting of depreciation. This can either be a direct posting or an indirect posting. A direct posting is where the system posts the asset's depreciation directly in the asset balance sheet accounts. Indirect posting is where the system posts the asset depreciation in the accumulated depreciation accounts and transfers the depreciation to the asset balance sheet accounts only when the asset is retired. Finally, we have posting of retirement. This is only available for depreciation areas with the posting to general ledger type. Values can be gross or net. Gross is where the system does not post the profit or loss during the asset's retirement to any general ledger accounts. Net is where the system posts the profit and loss during the asset retirement to the corresponding general ledger accounts. It's important to note that you cannot change a depreciation area type where the area was assigned to an asset class. Next, we will look at asset classes. You can use asset classes to classify fixed assets according to business and legal requirements. For each asset class, you can assign various depreciation areas and depreciation types. After you assign an asset class to an asset, the depreciation parameters are taken to the asset master data as defaults. You cannot change an asset class of an active asset. Let's look in Business 1. So again, if we go to Administration, Setup, Financials, Fixed Assets, Asset Classes, we have our menu. Again, my database has a predefined asset class. An asset type can either be general or low valued. And we can also assign an attribute group. In our asset class, we can define our depreciation area, whether that area is active or not, the account determination, depreciation type, and the useful life of the asset. Next, we'll look at attribute groups. Attribute groups are used to assign attributes to your assets. As you assign your attribute group in the asset class, in the asset master data, it will pull in the defaults based on the group you have defined. Within each attribute group, you can have up to 64 different types of attributes. These are broken up into different types. You can have 32 text types, you can have 10 numeric types, 5 date types, 7 amount types, 5 price types, and 5 quantity types. The active attributes will be shown in the Asset Master Data in the Fixed Assets tab and in the Attributes sub-tab. Let's have a look in SAP Business One. So over here we have our attributes, and as you can see in the field type column, it shows the different types available. Here is one that I have predefined, and we also have the default attribute group. For my vehicles, I may wish to record their attributes. I've chosen to focus on the fuel type, the color, the transmission, the registration number, the number of seats, the next maintenance date, the last maintenance date. And let's change this one to the average maintenance cost. If I wanted to, I can simply create a new group. If we look at our asset master data, financials, fixed assets, asset master data, and we select an asset. I don't have one existing, so let's create one. We can call it truck 01. And this is a truck vehicle. In the fixed assets tab, we can see that no attributes have already been defined. So if we assign the asset class of motor vehicle, you can see it has already pulled through a few of the default values as set in the attribute groups. It has pulled in the default values, and I could easily overwrite any as I wish to do so. And amend that. Finally, we will look at document numbering. Let's look in SAP Business One. If we go to Administration, System Initialization, and Document Numbering, if we scroll towards the bottom, we can see our fixed assets, which we can set up document numbering for. This now concludes the end of this video. I hope you have found it useful, and please look out for the other videos within this series. Thank you.